Very well, where do I begin? My father was a relentlessly self-improving podcast host from Belgium with low-grade narcolepsy and a penchant for buggery. My mother was a 15-year-old French prostitute named Chloe with webbed feet. My father would womanize, he would drink, he would make outrageous claims like he invented the question mark. Sometimes he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy. The sort of general malaise that only the genius possess and the insane lament. My childhood was typical. Summers in Rangoon, luge lessons. In the spring, we'd make meat helmets. When I was insolent, I was placed in a burlap bag and beaten with reeds. Pretty standard, really. At the age of 12, I received my first scribe. At the age of 14, a Zoroastrian named Vilma ritualistically shaved my testicles. There really is nothing like a shorn scrotum. It's breathtaking. I highly suggest you try it. That's all I got.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revolution.
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Nice thing, big boy, huh? That's bright. Fuck you.
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Allow ourselves to introduce ourselves. This is Facing Off, a podcast where we take two movies we find to be similar and we compare, contrast, and rate them. I am an international man of mystery.
Yeah, baby.
And host of this podcast, Gabe. And this is the legendary Nick, former Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, Green Beret, served 6 tours in Desert Storm, 4 in Bosnia, 3 each in Angola, Somalia, Mozambique, Nicaragua, and Sierra Leone. The recipient of 16 Purple Hearts, 3 Congressional Medals of Honor, 7 Presidential Medals of Bravery, and the starting tight end for the University of Texas, El Paso, Nick.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. And then this is our rookie, Alec Smalley, who...
That's it?
He's 1 year out of the academy, 0 combat experience, little punk who thinks his shit don't stink. Well, I got news for you. It does stink. Stinks like shit.
Thank you
What's up, Alec? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hey, man.
This is an honor.
Yeah.
You're not going to throw up, are you? He said right before we did this that he was going to throw up, so... There's a trash can.
I gotta throw up.
There's a trash can right here, but
So
it's mesh, so
nervous.
it's not going to work.
No, we had a fun little offsite last night, us 3.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty fun. Offsite.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah, we
team
also
bonding.
have a live audience member, Mr. Nick Doria. He was the guest on the Captain America episode.
My least favorite episode.
Whoa.
Alec, why don't you tell the world a little bit about yourself?
Oh, man. So Gabe and I go way back. We had high school classes together. Did we actually have
You're
any
my
classes?
only friend that I had classes with.
Nice. Which class do we have?
That's weird.
AP US History.
Oh, yeah. A-push.
Yeah,
Nerd.
A push, and then I think that was it actually.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have classes with a lot of my friends. But anyways, Gabe and I go back, met Mr. Nick, host 2.0, when I visited Gabe at Redlands. And then, yeah, I know this live audience
You're a
member
bird.
pretty well, too. So this is kind of a crazy little get-together.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you on, and these movies are really important for you to be on for.
We haven't even,
so
told, we
need
haven't
to
even
do
said
it.
what the movies are.
Yeah. Well, do you have any shout-outs, Nick?
I was going to ask you this time. No, I don't have any shout-outs, man.
I don't have any shout-outs either. Thank you, everyone, for listening. What about you, Smalley?
Yeah.
Did your mom email us?
No,
my
she
voice
didn't
just
this
cracked.
time.
Oh.
Which sucks. Hey, and no one else emailed us. So if you want to email us and we could read your emails, send us an email to facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Do you guys have sponsors?
Who am I? You ask? No, not yet.
We
But
need some kind of face sponsor.
what about
dude.
Workday?
Whoa.
Do they want to sponsor us?
Oh,
Can anybody?
yeah.
Can any
Built for the
listener
future.
buy their services?
I'll go out on a limb and I'll
Oh,
champion
we should
you
have
guys.
Okay.
You're right. We should be sponsored by some sort of face wash.
All right, this episode is
Neutrogena.
brought to you by Workday. All right, well, Nick, let's get into the synopsis for MacGruber versus Austin Powers.
Yeah, that is our episode today. MacGruber versus Austin Powers, what's the
International
title?
Man of Mystery.
International Man of Mystery. Okay, so Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Literally, I wrote it down, but I asked you what the title was because I'm an idiot. It's about Austin Powers, the world's most incredible spy and hairy sex man. In the 1970s, when Austin's nemesis and world-renowned evildoer Dr. Evil escapes to space in a rocket ship made out of a statue of Bob's Big Boy, Austin freezes himself and is reanimated in the 90s when Bob's Big Boy and Dr. Evil return. In some ways, however, Bob's Big Boy never left. He's always offered the same high-quality meals at competitive prices. Anyways, Dr. Evil starts to develop a diabolical plot to hold the world ransom for a substantial fee of well over $1 million. He also discovers that he has a son, but he also discovers that he hates his son. Austin must adjust to the 90s, navigate a complicated sexual attraction with his former partner's daughter, the foxy Agent Kensington, and foil Dr. Evil's plot to drill a hole into the Earth and detonate a nuclear bomb that would eject the Earth's liquid hot magma out of every volcano.
Yummy.
He foils Dr. Evil, the sexy fembots, and Agent Kensington's resignations about boning a hairy, dentally challenged man whore.
Yeah.
That's that one.
That's that
MacGruber,
movie.
that's that movie. MacGruber is also a movie. It is a parody of the 1980s show MacGyver, but it's about MacGruber, the world's most incredible badass who doesn't use guns, doesn't make plans, but does rip out throats and patch together random shit to create solutions to problems.
I'm not good at clues.
At the start, MacGruber is in hiding after his arch-nemesis Dieter von Kunth explodes his wife at the altar. When Kunth returns, MacGruber must face the world again, assemble a team of other badasses, accidentally explode those badasses, and then band together with a newbie named Piper, his love interest Vicky St. Elmo, and together they pound some Kunth.
Nice.
That's the end.
Those are good. You're good at that.
Suck your own
Thanks,
dick.
man.
Smoley, why are you excited to be doing these two movies? Do you see any similarities
Who
between
said
them?
I was excited.
You're not.
Yeah.
You don't look
I
excited.
hated both of them.
Yeah.
No.
He just threw up while I was doing the synopses.
Yeah, he got it.
I don't know. I feel like we definitely have history with one of these movies. We used to watch MacGruber back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
In high school, and we thought it was stupid funny. So I think it was appropriate to bring that one on board. And I think Austin Powers just makes sense because while they are pretty different, they're both pretty similar in a lot of ways. So
Yeah,
They're both about an arrogant, arrogant hero agent who is brought back from his and he's still ingrained in his old ways that don't work anymore. And they both have a rival villain that they're going against who's really funny and charismatic.
And they're both mildly incompetent.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Somewhere between
yeah.
mildly and extremely incompetent.
Yeah.
The thing is, I feel like Austin Powers was he was fun and loving and
Yeah.
his
He's not an
intentions were
asshole.
yeah. And I felt like Austin
Damn it, Austin, that's my mother.
he's just yeah, baby,
Yeah.
going around.
He's free
MacGruber
spirit.
was just a douche. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MacGruber's just he's
He's
so
just
awful.
a POS, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Why do I have to be you? Because you are. All right, so let's get into our ranking.
Yes.
Or,
If you have not
system.
ever listened to our show, welcome. We rate things on a 1 to 7 scale. 1 is the worst. 4 is the middle. 7 is the one with a hairy chest. I messed that up. 7's the best. 4 is the middle. 1 is the worst.
Yeah.
That's a
And
man,
then
baby.
we're going to be doing our comedy categories that we did last week. So we'll start with hilarity.
Nice.
Hilarity.
Spectacular.
Acting, originality, legacy, and quotability / rewatchability. Let's get it started.
Yeah, it's a
With,
podcast, baby.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Yes,
No. Let's start spectacularity. Austin Powers.
You lead off.
I will lead off. I gave Austin Powers a 7 out of 7. It's one of the funniest
yeah.
movies I've ever seen.
For sure, I did too.
I'm never distracted in it. It has such a good opening scene with Dr. Evil and Mr. Bigglesworth, and he's like, when Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset. People die, and then the whole thing about like the Lucky Charms is super funny.
Oh my God.
Oh, I think that's a little bit later.
It doesn't matter.
But and then it's like Nick and I were rewatching this, and the intro to Austin Powers has to be one of the funniest
Oh, the
intros to a
dance
character,
number?
where he's like running through the streets.
Oh my
and
God.
chasing
Is that
after him.
making fun of something?
I feel like it's
I've
making fun of
seen
the Beatles movies, like Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
I
that.
got it. Like I've seen it before of like people like running through the street.
Yeah, and they're
he
all
comes back around. He's like marching the band. I was like, dude, this is so ridiculous.
and then he's like hiding with the like newspaper.
Oh, that song
Yeah,
is
it's so
iconic
good.
too.
Seriously.
Okay, Alec, you said you didn't give this a 7. What did you give
Well,
it?
the thing is, we were talking about this yesterday, and I was saying I feel like a lot of the times when I listen to these, you guys are all on the same page completely, and
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, I gave it like a 5.25. You're like, wow, I gave it a 5.25, and I'm like, dang, dude, I hope when I get on there,
exactly
I'm
what I
gonna
said.
be like at least a little bit close. I gave it a 6.
Okay.
So not, but I just kind of wanted. You were like, oh, I gave it a 7 too. And I was like, dang, it would be cool if all three of us did. But
Wow.
I just thought
What
it
a
was
trendsetter.
hilarious. Like 95% of the time, it's definitely one of a kind. There was only a couple moments that were like too silly for me. You know,
Like what?
I'm trying to think. There was like, it was kind of like, it has like a scary movie-esque vibe where it's like they like take things too far.
Yeah.
You know, like
Okay.
like in like those date movies where it's like someone's trying to
Where it's
pop
like
a pimple
ultra
and it blasts
parody.
them through
Oh,
a
yeah.
fucking wall and stuff.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
And so there was a couple where it was like when he was like pumping up the sneakers, like and then the powder exploded.
I always think whenever I see pump up sneakers or something, I always
Yeah,
think of that
100%.
scene.
What happened to
Yeah.
those, by the way?
I don't know.
You guys
go
don't
get
own
'em.
7 pairs of
Yeah.
pumped up sneakers?
7.
Those are probably worth a lot of money now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I think like some of it is like kind of like corny, silly.
Totally. But at the
It's
same time,
slapsticky.
It's slapstick.
slapsticky.
That's what it is.
But the
yeah.
thing is, I'm there for slapsticky stuff. It was a couple of things where it was like,
Some of the
it
stuff just
cheapened
doesn't
it
do
almost
it
a little
for
bit,
you.
you know? Because it is super funny and it takes it to those levels. And I thought Austin Powers is just super punny. I didn't realize how many puns were sprinkled in.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I feel like
it's all like penis innuendos. And
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, so many and like the
Yeah.
little looks he makes and stuff are
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
hilarious. So he's like, you know, danger's my middle name, and looks at her like, you wanna do me now after I said
There's
that?
only 2 things in this world that scare me, and one of them is nuclear warheads. And the other?
What's the other?
What? What is the other thing that scares you? Carnies. Circus folk, smell like cabbage. Classic.
This is so okay. I gave it a 7 because when dude, I can rewatch this movie. I could watch it every week, and I'd probably laugh just as much.
Yeah.
It's just one of those like unique movies that is endlessly funny to me, and it's funny in almost every single scene, and it's funny in multiple different ways.
Totally. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
I'm saying,
I'm playing with my coffee cup.
That's all
Sorry if you
good.
can hear that. It's literally it's slapstick. It's like smart funny. It's pun funny. It's witty. It's goofy. It's like all these different types of comedy all rolled into
dopey.
this 1 hour and a half long like silly goof fest. It's like
Yeah.
perfectly paced too.
Oh,
Dude,
I totally agree with that point.
I love it. For this category, it's got to get a 7 for me.
really?
It's
I
just
also
like
think
laugh after laugh
that
after
one?
laugh.
It also like throws in like one of the scenes that I laugh at for the entire length of the scene that's just perfectly paced is when Michael McDonald is in front of the thing and he's like, "No!"
dude.
He's like screaming and it goes really
ridiculous.
slowly.
Move.
Or
He's in every one of the 3 Austin Powers movies
Really?
as a different
oh
character.
really?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
cool.
actually, I kind of remember.
He's a different character in each one of them, but he's in each one.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's kind
but
of a
he's
cool-
that one.
Very cool.
That's just like an
tidbit.
iconic
Yeah.
scene. All the parts of Dr. Evil's chair like keep me laughing. I just think like because we talk about in spectacularity, it's like how engaging the movie was, but also how well balanced the comedy is, and I
Right.
think that it keeps certain like ridiculous jokes that you never noticed before in there to like keep you engaged to a certain degree. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
it's 7. All right, so that's a 7 for me, a 6 from Smalley, and 7 from Nick. Let's move on to MacGruber, spectac, hilarity. Smalley, why don't you start this?
Oh
one?
man, so I didn't know we were bouncing back and forth.
Should I call you Alec or Smalley on this?
Don't confuse the listeners.
We've called him both. It's
Yeah, I'll
very
call him
confusing.
Alec. I'll call him
I'm
Alec.
actually William, so if you want to throw
Well,
that.
Billy. All right.
I gave MacGruber a 5, basically because it was like more scary movie-esque, where
Yeah.
there was definitely more scenes where I was like, oh, like they went so far on
Right.
that sort of thing. I said definitely like basically they just took it a step too far a couple times. But I obviously think it's like still super easy to watch and super funny, and there's just a ton of the humor in it was different, and there wasn't a lot of puns. I mean, there was a lot of puns where it's like I'm gonna go pound some cunt and stuff like that.
It's like
but it was
simpler
like
puns.
it was jokes that we would do to each other, where it's like we get in each other's face and like you want to go, and it's like that somehow is funny to me.
Anytime, anywhere. I'm beginning to like this guy. Just kidding. I still hate you.
But there are definitely like 3 or 4 scenes in MacGruber that I think are like right up my alley of just hilarious. When he's like, oh man, I forget exactly when he's like, oh, I found this what was it, like a book? He's like, a book that's written that says, F America by MacGruber.
Yeah.
He's like, I promise I didn't write that. That's not
that.
Someone
What are
is
those
blackmailing me. Yeah.
Manifesto.
Yeah. And there was another part where he's like, dude, I did the same thing.
You gotta believe me. He's like, oh my god, it's me. I'm framing you.
And then earlier when he's like, oh wait, I put a bunch of homemade C4 and I blew up my entire team. He's like, wait, we're so similar. I did the exact same thing. He's like, I didn't do that.
I'm not gonna say it, but more on that. Blows my
It's just like, so for me, I gave it a 4 in spectacularity.
Oh, fucking eat it.
Because I don't think that it's like
Time to suck your own dick.
It's not
Peter.
like consistently funny. I feel like it has like 10 really funny scenes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then the rest is just like, okay, just move on.
Right.
Next scene, please.
Yeah.
And I like, it's just not like a good movie, really. It's just super quotable and really goofy and like gels with our general sense of like humor.
For sure.
What is this? Nope.
Just read it.
You passing notes?
It just says I'm at the pen.
This is one of my favorite things.
change
All
your
right,
mind.
Fair enough.
Plant that prop in here.
You gotta explain it.
Yeah, I planted a piece of paper next to me, and I just handed it to Nick, and it says I'm at the
Next
Pentagon.
to your DVDs.
From
It's
the
just
movie.
like, it's not a bad movie to me, but I know it's a bad movie to a lot of people out there. It's just kind of a one-dimensional comedy, so I can't give it a high score.
Totally fair. I gave it a 7 out of 7 because I think it's one of the funniest movies ever made, and that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
I'm just super engaged. I think that Jorma Taccone is the one who directed it. I think he did a great job. Like, the editing is super funny, especially the way that they do the sex scenes. Also, having those back-to-back ridiculous sex scenes is so funny. I thought they were going to do it for like 4 more scenes with like more and more
my
people.
God.
Oh my god.
That would have been too much.
I'm getting sued. They also like rope you into thinking it's like a serious movie at the very beginning when they're like,
Totally.
It's like seems like it's gonna be like a cool action movie, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Russian.
Yeah.
And then it like starts, and then the whole thing with MacGruber is so funny. He's like, not everything, Colonel.
Dude, totally. I wrote down it was way more serious in the beginning. Like, it seemed like a 007 or Iron Man kind of like.
Well, they
vibe
were
in the
definitely
beginning.
showing you what they were like parodying.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. But like Austin Powers was like. It started out in a totally different vibe.
so
This one, I was
goofy.
like, wait, what movie am I in?
Yeah.
Is this a comedy? Because he's like shooting guys like as they're like trapped.
Yeah, it's
in,
like
a
kind of
car.
messed up. Yeah.
I was like, wait,
Nighty
is this-
night.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like waiting for the humor for a little bit.
I thought that it's really funny that they like sprinkle in little noises and stuff. Like, and I love watching it to notice those things. Like, whenever there's an explosion, there's a wildcat noise, or they're like fireworks get it. Yeah, it's like. I just think the story's also just like ridiculous enough, and like him and Dieter von Kunther are so funny that it
It's
kept
Hot
me
Rod.
engaged.
It's like the
Yeah.
same
It's
type
exactly
of
like Hot
humor.
Rod.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But
All
I mean,
right.
like, yeah, it's The Lonely Island.
I mean, it just works for me. That's it.
Yorma wrote it and directed it, right?
Yeah.
I think if you like start watching MacGruber, or if you've seen it on SNL, and you see like him in the first scene where he's like, "I've been dead for 10 years," or whatever,
Yeah.
like, and if you think that part is a little bit funny, you're gonna like the rest of the movie. If you think
don't-
that's so dumb,
Oh, yeah.
that's the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like, it's only
Yeah,
one type of movie. It's either going to work for you or it
or
isn't.
not. Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a 4 from
That's
Nick.
why I had to give it average.
A 5 from Alec and a 7 out of 7 from me. All right, let's move on to our next
Animal.
category, acting.
Yeah.
Acting is where we talk about sort of the performances. Were the actors good and funny? Was it good comedic acting? Did the directors and writers give them the tools that they needed to be as funny as possible? Let's start with MacGruber, since we're on it. Nick, why don't you start this off?
Okay, I'm gonna give it another 4
Okay.
because Will
punch you in the
Forte is a 7 and everyone else is like a 2.
Ooh.
I don't think
Kristen Wiig?
I don't think she's that funny in this.
She's her though. She's like,
Can't wait.
yeah. I feel like she's as awkward. as
Maybe
she
Kristen
is in real
Wiig just
life.
doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I think that's.
that might be the
That's
issue.
kind of like what her humor was. Like.
I know. I just like
What about Maya Rudolph?
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
She was in it for
Wow.
like
I
2
know.
minutes.
I know.
I love when she like pops up in the wedding and he's like looking at her and she's like, I'm just kidding. And Kristen Wiig looks around and is super confused.
Dude, if their roles, maybe if Maya Rudolph played Kristen Wiig's character and Kristen Wiig played Maya Rudolph's character, I might have liked it more because I love me some Maya Rudolph.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, the guy that plays Piper though is actually pretty good. If he was not good,
Ryan Philippe?
this would be a 3.
Yeah.
So
But he's pretty funny.
I totally agree. I feel like both movies had that serious sidekick that kind of kept them on track, and it kind of made it less of like a retarded movie. You know, like it's like
Yeah.
but it was also kind of like super unrealistic how they would be like dealing with him. You
Yeah.
know, when
Yeah.
MacGruber's going on these little rants and he's like, classic MacGruber. You know, and you're just
Yeah.
like, no human would be like that. But everything else is like very probably how a normal person would be.
That's a good point.
But I thought, can we pass it on? Are you done? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, I'm done. You jumped on it.
Just
perfect.
talk, dude.
Have you done this
Keep
before?
going. Yeah, all right.
Can you call on me?
Yes, Alex Smoley.
Okay, thank you. I gave acting a 6. I thought the actors were all pretty well casted. I thought some of the writing was meh, but it was very SNL feeling.
Yeah.
So if you like SNL and like that silliness, then it's like right up your alley.
It
So
does
I
feel like
this
an
one.
SNL like digital short.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, like the balance of like the humor and like the seriousness. Like, how do you strike that balance in these movies? Because a lot of it is pretty serious, and then all of a sudden, like he'll walk out with like celery in between his butt, and you're like, "Oh yeah, this is a comedy."
Yeah, they
and this
blend
is
those.
really-
And they blend it
Never
up pretty
ever.
well.
Say never ever. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to put in the thick end first, 'cause otherwise it'll slide right out.
counterintuitive.
I'm gonna stop you right there because I'm never gonna do that. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I gave it a 6 as well. I do think so. There's like 3 really good performances in it. Like I'm not gonna include Maya Rudolph because she's just not in a lot of
not
it,
in
like you
enough,
said.
yeah.
But I just Will Forte is so funny. It's one of the funniest comedic performances, and like. Like we watch Last Man on Earth, and I've seen him in like other movies and stuff, and he was pretty funny on SNL. I liked him. He was never one of my favorite cast members when he was on it, but he is so like he just like steals the show in this. He plays such an unbelievable piece of shit. It's great.
It's just prime. It's like Will Forte at his funniest.
Also, I respect the casting director for realizing that Val Kilmer could be one of the funniest people if you just give him great lines.
Dude,
and
was,
he
like,
came in and he's so funny.
surprisingly like eerie too.
Yeah.
like he was
He was
just
kinda
so
creepy.
like normal when he was like making
He's like,
these threats.
it's okay, Jeff.
Yeah.
Would you do me a
2
favor and
steps.
just take 2 steps to the left? Yeah.
Dude, also, while we're on that scene, I thought that was like one of the more badass like
The way he
ways to
kills him.
kill somebody.
Yeah, he's like, all right,
Go
paint
hang
that
it.
in the foyer.
So basically,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it, like he shoots this guy that let him down, and then with the blood splatter on the canvas
Yeah.
behind him, he was like, "Great, can you go hang that in like the foyer or whatever?"
Yeah.
That's
What-
insane. That's
Yeah.
so like
That's pretty cool.
I
messed
love
up.
when he's like making the painting of the naked old lady there, and he's like, wet her more, more.
Spray
And then he
bottle.
just snaps and she leaves the room. It's so good. I mean, I love Val Kilmer in it. Kristen Wiig is so funny.
okay.
Every interaction between Dieter Von Kuntz and MacGruber, or Dieter Von Kuntz and Kristen Wiig's character, so funny. Ryan Philippe is okay. I don't like Ryan Philippe as an actor. You know, like he's been someone from our audience just gave a loud audible gasp, or maybe they passed wind. That's actually true. And Cruel Intentions, he's kind of good too. But he's like a corny actor. I don't know. Everyone else is kind of whatever. There's not really. I wish there were more funny people in it. That's what
Right.
brings it down to a 6
I just think
for
the
me.
only person that I really laugh at a lot is Will Forte, and like a couple other lines.
Yeah.
but it's just him. He's just a 7, and everyone else is like whatever to me.
Yeah, that's totally fair. All right, well then, so that's a 6 from Alec and I, and that's 4 from Nick.
Yeah, dude, the cat is just killing me. My allergies are.
Do you want a Claritin?
No, man, I already took one.
Take
it just
4.
happens, dude.
Yeah, we got a cat.
At least we still have him.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. He might have slipped out again. Yeah, I had a heart. Danny, if you're listening to this, I had a heart attack and almost lost your cat. It was bad. Anyways,
wild.
let's move on to Austin Powers acting.
Okay.
Nick, why don't you start this off?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Dude. Okay, so Mike Myers obviously is the most 7
Yeah.
possible. But like also the guy that plays number 2 is so funny. Seth Green is
Not enough of you pushing me around,
dude. Seth Green is so funny in this too.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Hurley's
so
a
good.
good like
Yeah, I do
straight like
too.
Elizabeth Hurley's a good straight character, but also nails the like what comedy she does have to do, all the like physical comedy with the pouring of the
Nails.
milk
Oh
and
my
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Was that the first time?
Oh, and the
been done?
sausage.
Oh, I think so, dude. It's amazing.
That was like crazy.
yeah, all of the coordination taken. to,
It's
like,
crazy.
get
Yeah,
all of
and
those
she does it with
physical-
the magnifying glass. That was really cool too.
All of that is like amazing. I don't think that I would give her performance a 7.
Yeah.
Heather Graham in the second Austin Powers.
I love Heather Graham
Is
in
a
it.
7.
Yeah.
We're going there.
She is so good. But anyways, back to the Austin Powers we're talking about. In terms of comedic acting, it's got to be one of the best of all time. I don't know that like there's too much to knock.
Yeah, I honestly think that Mike Myers should have been nominated for an Academy Award for at least one of the.
Yeah,
one of the
I
Austin
forgot
Powers.
that.
It's like one of the craziest acting performances. I just killed a mosquito or something. That was
really
pretty
impressive,
fucking cool.
You should be nominated for an Academy
Sometimes
Award
when
for that.
he thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy. Sometimes when I'm watching Dr. Evil, I completely forget that that's Mike Myers in that makeup.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a completely different actor, and that's amazing. And he does the English accent so well that Quentin Tarantino like chose him to be in Inglourious Bastards as an English guy.
Okay, so did you know that Jim Carrey was supposed to play Dr. Evil?
No way.
Like I think he was cast. I don't
know.
But he
I
had
don't know
to
how I think about
he
that.
had to drop out for Liar Liar.
For Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah. He was preparing for like 20 years for it. Yeah.
He had to drop out for Liar Liar, and then Mike Myers didn't want anyone else.
Do you know
like,
Jim-
didn't think anyone else could pull the character off, so he just did it himself.
You know, Jim Carrey was supposed to be Mini-Me as well. No, I'm kidding. That was stupid.
Yeah, he was cast. I honestly think it could have been better, but it also could not have been. But I feel like
I don't know. It's just that he kills
But
it.
think
as-
of like 1995 Jim Carrey.
That's true, and he was really good at impersonations. Like he was really good at them. And this is supposed to be like Ernst Blofeld from
I
the
think it
James
just
Bond
makes
movies.
it like that makes the movie way cooler that it's Mike Myers on both
Oh
sides.
yeah, it's
You know what
I
mean?
think that it ends up being more iconic this way.
And like sorry.
But like what could have been is like
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of cool to think about.
I give it a 7 also for acting. I thought it was silly, but they did a good like serious 007 type movie.
Yeah,
that
the
was,
parody is great.
And I also thought it's insane how they had no like Mike Myers had no like crossover mannerisms between Dr. Evil and like Austin Powers. So, like,
Yeah.
he never like sounded remotely the same, did any like same ticks or anything.
that's a great point.
physical. And I
That's
also
what
thought
I'm
it was
talking about.
insanely cool how when they were in like the same scenes, like the whole Parent Trap.
We
like,
nominated Robert Downey Jr. for Tropic Thunder. An amazing performance, but not fucking Austin Powers.
Dude,
or
times have
Mike
changed.
Myers. Yeah,
The game has
That's it.
changed.
But the players are the same.
same.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I give it a 7 too.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Every single
so
person's
cool.
It's like
Tom
one of the
Arnold
best.
comes in, just drains like 10 threes in a row, and it's so funny. I love when he's like, "Are you part of the show?" And he's like, "No, actually, I'm English." And he goes, "Whew, "Sorry." Come on, man. How about a courtesy flush in there? Jesus, boy, what did you eat?
I think that's so funny also how they like go into the bathroom and they're like refreshing up before
yeah.
the poop.
Yeah, I don't get that
They're hanging
either.
out, they're like, hey, like good luck in there, you know, and like turn around and like go.
You didn't happen to see anything at all.
When I go poop, I'm like literally bolt in, put my collar up so no one can see who I am, and then get out as
Hide
quick as
the
I-
cracking,
They're like
no talking.
meeting everybody in the bathroom, like, hey,
yeah.
I'm about to go poop. I'm about to go poop.
Dude, that scene is so funny.
Oh, it's
Everyone is
iconic.
great. I mean, everything that you guys said, I totally agree with. It's a 7. Let's move on to our next category. Our next category will be originality. Originality is just where we're talking about the creativity of the movie and whether it
Okay.
needed to be made and whether it stands out in the comedy genre. So, Smalley, why don't you start this? Let's start with Austin Powers.
Yeah, cool. I give it a 7. I think it's just one of a kind. It's iconic. Like people, this probably goes down in legacy and stuff, but I think people will be talking about this, like how it stands alone, you know, it's in its originality forever. And it's one of those movies that like it hits all generations. I feel like kids love it, adults love it. It's like one of those, and it's kind of funny because now that I'm thinking about it, like Shrek kind of hits that too, and Mike Myers is like,
oh yeah, and he's
Shrek.
in. I always forget that he's Shrek.
Me too.
How do you
What a
forget
weird
that,
performance. I mean, because it's just not like him. He's
doesn't
always
look
like
like
the. Well, he's also always the goofiest one in the movie, and like Eddie Murphy's the goofiest one in the
True.
Shrek movies.
Oh, Eddie Murphy. But yeah, anyways, I don't know, that was a weird tangent I went down.
No, I get what
Shrek
you're talking
definitely
about.
is one of those movies that parents like too.
No, it's
Yeah,
really
it works for
important to
both.
talk about Shrek as much as we possibly can.
How many times can we fit him into this?
Today we're doing Shrek versus Shrek 3
2.
Forever After, or maybe that's 4.
Acting was amazing.
Sevens all the way. Podcast done.
Hey audience, are you happy with our choice to do Shrek versus Shrek? Sorry, all right.
I want to hear it. All right.
Give us more Shrek. Let's not Shrek.
Your listeners just skyrocket.
Oh, we have confused.
Alex,
what
sorry.
category we're on?
No, Austin Powers originality.
I
This
think
is off the
that
rails.
Mike Myers like defined himself as one of like the
yeah.
better actors
Oh, for
out
sure.
there. Like, and this is just like incredible. I think he hit all like the awkward, funny beats perfectly. Like
Yeah.
every beat he takes in between his jokes, his looks he does, like is just perfect. I don't know. I'm no actor, but I feel like that he made it look really easy. You know, like yeah. I don't act. But yeah,
Yet.
I give it a
Yeah.
big ol' siete.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, did you, Nick?
I gave it a 6, and
Okay,
here's why.
then you talk first. Yeah.
So it reminds me a lot of other comedies, like Airplane and Blazing Saddles. It's kind of in that same, like I think it takes a lot from that vein of comedy. But it's like, and it's timeless in the same way that those movies are timeless. The level of parody is unrivaled. The
Yeah.
way that it parodies James Bond is
Oh,
unrivaled
so
by
good.
any other movie.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give it like a 7 because I don't think it's the most like unique
Yeah.
movie. Like the other categories get the 7s for me.
Totally.
But I do that with like every movie that we talk about.
Might have
I
been-
always rate it a little bit lower in originality because I feel like it's
Just tough with
It's tough. It's
with
tough
a
to be
movie.
like the most.
Especially one that's like based off of other things.
It's tough to be the most unique movie.
Well,
Yeah.
Here you go. Is it like Shrek originality?
However, Shrek is an 8 on a 7. I just spit on the microphone.
I mean,
how much I love Shrek.
I totally
baby.
get that. I think you're totally right about like how well it's written to parody James Bond. For me, I think it's I give it a really high originality. I'm giving it a 7 out of 7 because I think every joke in the movie is really expertly written, and it's not like based off of anything else.
No,
except
there's
for,
so
like,
much thought put into this.
Yeah, and like I don't think movies like MacGruber would exist without Austin Powers, like making fun of that.
made the way.
But Austin Powers also
Totally.
probably wouldn't exist without like Doctor Strangelove, which is like
Yeah.
kind of a similar type thing.
Yeah, that's what I was
What was
saying
the
with
first
Blazing
movie
Saddles
ever?
and
'Cause
Airplane.
that was the most original one of all time.
Yeah, that's
Everything
true.
else piggybacked
yeah,
off of that.
everything is based off of the first
Vaatu.
movie ever.
It's not the first
No,
movie.
it's the
It's just
one
the-
with
it's just the oldest movie I can
It's
think
the
of.
one with the rocket that hits the moon in the eye or whatever, like a big pizza pie.
The
That's
Rock?
amore. No, it's not Casablanca. That's way later. I do think, dude, the thing that's so clever about it is like what we were talking about earlier, like the sexual innuendos and all the like scenes like we were talking about, like it's just every scene is super cleverly
Dude, Mike
written.
Myers developed this character for like decades.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm talking about like even like other things that are happening with like other characters, like we
So
were talking
funny.
about with like the eating the sausage or whatever, and then like if you watch any of the Austin Powers movies, they do the things with shadows, and they always like make things look like absurd and disgusting with the shadows, and they kind of do that a little bit with a lot of vagina.
Yeah,
in
which is
this.
changing.
Yeah,
Dude, that scene, he's like, and he's like shaking.
he's like shaking the like
Oh, dude.
sock or
Oh, my
whatever.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think everything is really, really clever, and I
like,
just
no other
can't
movie
imagine a
does
movie
that.
that's smarter.
No
Yeah.
other movie. Okay.
And even like the scene where he's like behind the couch doing the elevator thing and the like canoe.
By the way, was that like the first? Is that how we all got it? Was from this movie?
I'm pretty sure that
pretty
people
sure.
I
got it
watched
from
that
it.
and I was like, I've seen that.
That's the
before.
thing about this
I'm sure
movie
other
is-
people had done it before, but I don't think like
I'm not
society
saying-
at large knew to do
I want
that.
to save it for legacy, but this movie's legacy is like
Oh yeah,
dude. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, let's move on to
Yeah.
MacGruber then for originality. That was a 7 from
you better be
Alec and I,
sorry.
and then a 6 from Nick.
Strike one, Gabe.
Let's do MacGruber originality. MacGruber. I give it a 5.
okay.
I think it's really. I think it's clever. I think I don't think that it. Like I said, I don't think it would exist without movies like Austin Powers. And it's it was based off of. It's based off of MacGyver, the show, parodying that. But it's also just based off of this little tiny sketch on SNL that even Michael Scott is obsessed with in The Office. 10 seconds, MacGruber. He's like, MacGruber. Yeah, I mean, making the main character into an absolute piece of shit is pretty clever. I love it. It's good writing to do that. It's like every Jim Carrey movie except for ×3. Because you know how Jim Carrey in Liar Liar and Bruce Almighty is just
he's
such
just
an
an awful
asshole,
person.
self-centered person.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. And I just I love the way that they write the characters in MacGruber, and the parodying is so fun. I need
Players
to
have
stop saying that word
changed,
because
but
it's
the
just
game is
not
the
working
same.
for me.
I think it's so funny how they make him this this genius war vet, and then he's this guy that's
He's the worst person. He's so
can't string
incompetent.
together a sentence, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think that's super funny. It's so decorated, and all of a sudden he's like, "You want to go?" And it's
Yeah, what is the plan? I don't know. I'm just sort of coming up with it as I go.
that's part of
It's
the
not
plan.
really a plan.
Yeah, all part of the plan.
KFBR, to KFBR.
That is the funniest thing.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. All right, but what did you give it, Small?
For originality, I gave it a 5 as well. Here we go. This is my dream. coming
KFBR
true.
392. KFBR 392.
I said
What? Agreeing with us? Yeah, okay.
I was afraid I was gonna be way up.
Glad to fulfill your dreams.
I have really small dreams. I said MacGruber itself is a kind of, like you said, a spinoff of MacGyver, so that's not really original there. But I felt like the whole, a hero, whatever, protagonist, using little knickknacks to defeat people is pretty original, and he doesn't use guns, and I feel he's it shows him picking up his items a couple times, and he's picks up a thumbtack, picks up a penny, and tapes it to his chest, and
Oh yeah, what is the rubber bands?
He throws the tennis ball way after the car. No, I got this.
Yeah.
He throws the tennis ball and just goes.
Totally. So I think that part is pretty funny, in the sense that it's not just a superhero running around with guns or anything like that.
Man, there's a million wires. I'm more of a 3-wire guy.
Oh, here's a green one, but there's so many other green ones.
Many other green ones.
And yeah, so I think that's pretty funny how he's above guns, but which we realize later is because he doesn't know how to
use one.
So I feel in that sense, I thought it was pretty original, but overall, it kind of piggybacked on a lot of other things. So
yeah,
5 is for me.
Okay,
yeah, slightly above average.
I gave it slightly below average.
Ooh,
I gave it a 3.
You're a hater on MacGruber, dude.
I'm just being realistic.
Come to Los Gatos, dude. We'll teach you about
I'm
this
just
movie.
being realistic. There it gets high ratings in some places, but it's
True.
just there's too many movies that try and do the same type of humor as MacGruber.
Yeah.
It's a good SNL movie, but I don't think it's even the best SNL based movie.
What other SNL based movies are there?
Oh, I don't know, Gabe. What's the best SNL based movie? Do you have a list
So
somewhere?
there's
I know
Night
that-
at the Roxbury is one.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Wayne's World's the best.
Wayne's World's the best.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
easily.
Easily, hands
Yeah.
down. So
Blues Brothers, Coneheads.
Mike Myers, Shrek.
Yeah.
It's doing.
Shrek Forever After.
It's just not a good movie. It's a good comedy, but it's not great by any stretch to me. It's super quotable, but there are other movies that are super quotable, and honestly, Will Ferrell's amazing, but he's basically MacGruber
Will
and
Forte.
Everything. What did I say?
Ferrell.
Ferrell?
He
Oh,
is
weird.
he is amazing too. I agree.
Will Ferrell is amazing.
He should have been in this, at least in one scene.
Should have been Shrek too. Will Forte is basically just MacGruber and everything Will Forte's in, though.
Yeah.
So he is.
No.
He's
yeah,
at his-
well, yeah, in Last Man on Earth, he's very similar.
Yeah, and how many movies are there where there's
In Nebraska, he's
an
kinda
absolute a-hole that is incompetent and bumbling through
Yeah, he's
stuff just like in MacGruber.
Yeah, that's
I just
fair.
don't think it's an original movie. I think the SNL sketches are much better at parodying MacGyver. I don't think MacGruber the movie is
No,
really
it's
supposed
not.
to be much of a parody of MacGyver.
No.
The SNL
It's
sketches
supposed to be more about
where it was-
spy thrillers. and
where it
stuff.
was it's almost parodying Mission Impossible or something.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
definitely.
Yeah, which
I
is
mean, that's
which is
fair.
kind of why we're comparing it to a parody of James Bond. But
So you gave it a 3 out of 7?
yeah, it's just not I don't think it's original.
That's fun.
I gotta be
Did
realistic.
have you ever given a movie a 1 or 0 on anything so far?
We've given ones to Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad got some.
Oh, yeah.
Lucy got some. Yeah, we're haters on certain movies, dude.
Cool.
But
I'm
we
just
love
trying to
both of these.
They've got to be like really bad.
So for
Dude,
originality,
have you seen Lucy?
it's so bad. For
Oh my
originality,
gosh.
MacGruber, it was a 5 from Alec and I, and a 3 from Nick. Let's
sucking
move on
Nick.
to our next category, legacy. Legacy is where we talk about how this movie ages, if it's going to be talked about, has it been talked about, was it like, what was the reception, and how has it worked for you over the time?
Right.
So let's start with MacGruber. I can
Okay.
get this one started. I give it a 4, kind of average out of 7. I almost want to give it lower, but I think personally it ages perfectly. Like I rewatch this all the time, and I love it each time. It gets better and better each time. But the thing is like, even though it came out in 2010, and it's like, it's made to be a movie about an asshole. Like, I just don't think they would make a movie like that anymore. Even though it's like not that long ago, there's so many things that like just don't fly in
game
today's
has
like
changed.
cancel culture. But the players are the same. The other thing is like almost no one saw this when it came out. Like
Yeah.
I knew when it came out in
lost- it
theaters.
lost
I think
money.
Cole was the only other person I knew who saw it.
It
in
lost
theaters.
money. It had a budget of 10 million and only made like 9 point something.
Yeah,
million.
lost. Yeah.
And
lost
then
like
it went from
100,000.
being in over 2,500 cinemas to in 177 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's bad. I mean, it's more of like something that gets picked up afterwards that
Right.
people love.
It's a
like
cult movie.
Hot Tub Time Machine is like that as
It
well.
has a cult following.
It's like a straight to DVD kind of movie.
yeah, or it's like on cable and you're gonna watch it or something.
It's just
I
like
don't know.
bros
it also
like
got like
us
a
like it,
5.5 on IMDb user score by idiots. And a 53%, 35% audience
bunch of
score on Rotten
carnies.
Tomatoes. It's like,
Dude.
It was a bunch of
that's-
carnies.
But you're
rated
right.
it.
I think it is. If you're watching the first scene and you're not laughing at it, it's just not going to work for
Yeah.
you the
Well,
whole
you
way
kind of got to
through.
know what to expect. If you're going into it thinking it's going to be something and it ends up being Will Forte.
Did you watch it with your lady?
No, I've watched it only.
You pointed at Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my lady Gabe. No, this is definitely not a movie that my wife would like. So I try to stick away from those because
Right.
I'm like the whole time looking at her like, here comes the funny
It's
part.
funny, right?
Here comes the
Isn't
funny
it
part.
funny? Yeah, I did
Yeah,
this.
I did that to
like,
Danny, and
So this
she
is like,
hated it.
Yeah, Julie doesn't like it. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't hate it, but she's like, it's not a good movie. And
It's
I'm like,
a watch
it's
by
not a good
yourself
movie.
or with your buddies. Kind
Yeah.
Of movie,
Oh,
you
it's
know?
definitely a buddy's movie.
It's like a cult. It has a cult following. I just
with
don't
your
think it's
mom.
not iconic.
Or with your mom. No, my mom definitely is not going to like this
Oh
when
my
she
God, no.
watches it for the podcast.
She's,
She watches everything for the podcast. Like, she like needs to do it right when the podcast comes out. And like, I just think she's going to be really mad at me
She's
for having
not
to
gonna
watch
like
this.
this
Hey,
one.
that's part of it. You gotta
Uh,
have some good ones and some
That's
bad
true.
ones, some ones that are controversial.
Can't make
What
an
was your
omelet
rating,
without breaking a few
Smalley?
dicks.
Oh man, I gave it a 4 as
Okay.
well.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
So-
Whoa, you guys are synced up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, you looking at my notes?
Cinco de Mayo.
It's not always looking at.
Yeah. Man, this is just outrageous. This episode is all over the place.
Is that how they usually go? Basically, I agree with Gabe completely. It has like a special place in my heart because I feel like it was like funny to us at the time, and it'll always like, it's almost like if something rubbed you the wrong way when you initially see it, you're never gonna like it afterwards. This one was like one of those things that hit me right in the funny bone right when I saw it. So forever. If
Yeah.
anything, I'm laughing about how I laughed at it back then.
Right,
sort of
right.
thing. But I
It's kind
don't
of like Get Smart. I only laugh
Totally.
at it because of how hard me, you, and Kevin laughed when he like
100%,
pukes
dude.
in the
Yeah.
jet.
But I definitely don't. I mean, I'm not oblivious to the fact that it's not going to be like in the Mount Rushmore of like comedy movies.
For me, it is, but it's like no. I mean, no,
But
it's
I'm
not
saying, like,
really.
for others,
yeah,
like, it's
but for
definitely-
others, no way.
No way it's in like the top 100 for like 99% of humans.
Right. Actually, last night when we were walking, Alec was like, "So this may be like controversial, but like I don't think people really like MacGruber or like have seen MacGruber." And I was like, "Dude, that's not I don't
No.
think most people have seen that movie."
Well, I just feel like
Alec,
I was
my
sitting in a
roommate,
bubble.
didn't even know it existed. He was like, "You
Really?
mean based on the sketch, they made a movie?"
Totally. Like I
That's
feel like I've
dumb.
been just in a bubble though, where like all my friends have seen it, and all my friends think it's funny.
Yeah.
So then when I was like gonna watch it again, I saw these ratings that you showed. There was like a 44 on Metacritic and like all these bad
Yeah.
reviews, and I was like, wait a minute, people
Should I-
don't like
yeah,
this.
not-
And
I
then
don't
I
get
watched
it.
again. I was like,
It's
wait, people-
not. It just is not like. It just doesn't have like an iconic following.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
cult
for
following.
What did you give it,
And it
Nick?
gets points for that. I don't know how big the cult following is outside of us and our immediate friend groups.
That's probably it,
That's what
honestly.
I.
What
that's
did you
I
give
wrote.
it?
I want to give it higher, but I gave it a 3.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. It's just hurt by like people
Yeah.
not knowing it.
It's good for me, and it's good for you, and it's good for America, and it's good for fans of justice and truth, but it's not a good.
What about? Let's talk about Austin Powers' legacy.
7.
Yeah, it's a 7.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
it's-
this is like one of the
Think
most
about
iconic comedies
Think
ever.
about how much the like little like how much this is seeped into just
Society.
like the vernacular of society.
Yeah,
So I gave it a 6.
Oh, okay.
dude.
Simply because
We were
of
boys.
two scenes that might not age well.
Okay. Oh, fair.
So
Good.
one scene was on the airplane, and he's like, "Ooh, I fell over." That's funny for everybody, but that coming like this day and
Oh,
age is
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
rapey, you know.
But later, she's drunk and he won't sleep with her.
100%. I'm not saying he didn't make up for it, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that scene like would not
Look
fly.
at
these
you.
days.
You're
Like,
smashed.
she's like, "Get off of me!" Like Austin, no, and he's like, "Oh, like
I fell
falling."
out.
on
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty-
You know what I
it's
mean?
messed
So that
up.
scene, and also, I'm pretty sure it was he put a little like mild yellow face on when he dressed up at the end, dude.
Oh.
He like put a
Oh.
bunch of like he looked darker.
Interesting.
It wasn't blackface.
Okay.
But it was
Yeah,
like,
no, it's okay
To the
then.
point where I was like, probably fine back
Yeah.
then. You know, it was very mild, but I was like, yo, that probably didn't sit well with some people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things that
Dude,
did not
it's-
age in certain.
But it's a classic movie,
100%.
classic performance,
Yeah.
classic character. It's just like it's an iconic movie.
Oh,
it has 2
without a doubt.
sequels, catchphrases, and ridiculous.
even the Austin Powers like music and theme song is like.
yeah, Da-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, like everyone knows that.
Dude,
like
amazing.
every single person knows what that is. That's yeah. Yeah. Let's just do that for the rest of the podcast.
It's a classic. It's
You know
a classic.
who? You know who
baby,
aged
yeah.
perfectly over time? Elizabeth Hurley.
Hurley.
Mad yummy,
more like,
yummy.
More like didn't age at all.
yeah.
Dude, what is she? A
Seriously.
fembot?
They even make fun of
Spoiler
yeah.
alerts.
It's just great. I love it. It's a 7. There's like we don't need to talk about it because everyone
No.
knows this movie and
It's
loves
a
it.
bona fide classic.
Let's
really
finish it up with our last category, quotability / rewatchability, and we're mostly talking about like, did the quotes in the movie like make their way into the conversations with your friends and everything? Like, do you remember every quote, and do you want to rewatch this movie and have you rewatched it a
Shut
lot?
your butt.
Shut your butt
And tell us
you're
your rating.
loco, man. Yeah, let's start with MacGruber.
Capital M.
MacGruber is a 7 for me. I mean, I quote between me, Smoley, and our group of friends back home, and Nick Doria here, our audience member. We quote it like all the time.
Yeah.
We were just sitting in the other room eating breakfast and running through quotes just because they were in our head.
I gave it a 7 too. I told you last night that I'd give it a 7.
Classic
I have to give it a 7.
MacGruber.
Classic Nick.
Yeah.
Dude, when it says "You're loco, man," and the subtitle says "You're crazy, man,"
It's so funny.
one of the funniest things.
I love
the one subtitle in the whole movie. That's amazing.
I wanted to make like a dubstep song where like right before the drop it was like call 911, call 911.
Oh, dude,
I
that
always think
scene
of that.
is so good.
And I made them with my own too. Like it's so expertly.
So-
On
That's
the-
what I'm talking about.
on
Yorma
the-
Takao killed it with
on
the
the
directing.
rewatches, that scene loses a little punch. But
Oh, yeah,
you, like
'cause
you
you
said
know.
earlier, Alec, where you were like you laugh because of how hard you laughed the first time.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I laugh at that scene because of how funny I thought that was the first time I saw
Totally.
it.
Yeah,
That-
he's clean as a pig's dick.
Dude, the C4 scene and then the coffee, like when she dresses up as MacGruber and she's,
yeah.
he's like, I don't tip. Take the
Yeah.
tip out. And he's like, I'm so sorry.
I'm not sorry,
wow.
but I'm sorry as me.
It's just endlessly quotable.
Oh
It's,
my god.
If you're us, I feel like if it's not, it is quotable if you aren't us. It's just people won't make it to the quotes because they'll turn the movie off.
Hosbender dead at the age of who the fuck cares? It's just like it's made to be quoted. Like, and I love watching comedies where immediately after you see it, you're like saying to your friends, you're like, oh, I really need to go rewatch that just so I can remember what the quotes are.
Totally.
Yeah. Number none of your business. That means number 2.
Whole scene.
KFBR 392.
KFBR 392.
See, it has to be quotable if we can remember that license plate for the rest of our lives.
And
like I don't even know my own license plate.
And like, dude, the whole
gun?
like
I
the
need something to
movie's
start
not
with.
good enough. Like the
no, I'm busy. Throw me that Incredimop. He's like, I'm a little busy.
The rewatchability is a little bit hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's enough because to like knock it lower than a 7 when I think about it because it's just so quotable.
I mean, I will rewatch this. I've already rewatched it like 20 times. I'll do it at least like 50 more times in my lifetime. My kids are going to watch this when they're too young to be watching it.
Hey, Gabe, it looks like you're keeping your body pretty tight.
You're looking pretty good yourself. Well, every day's a workout when you
gotta
got
carry around a 20-pound python in your jeans.
You and your dick comments.
It's fun to say them.
Ways I love it. Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun to hear
That's
them.
so funny.
And that's why
That's like something
Chris
that,
Jericho's low-key an MVP.
That's like something that I like. I could just imagine Clay quoting that all the time. It's like him or like Carter or you like saying certain lines in this
100%.
movie.
I put him as MVP.
Really? That's awesome.
Should we do Austin Powers quotability?
Dude, wait, did you actually?
Oh yeah, get in your.
Did you
quotes.
actually
Yeah.
put Chris Jericho as one of your MVPs? That's amazing.
What did you give it?
I split
Did
them
you
up.
actually? That's so
We were
funny.
just talking about this before you came in today. Yeah, before you got here.
I split it up because I feel like
Okay.
I have different scores for both of them. I see rewatchability. I gave it a 5.
Okay.
I say it's definitely rewatchable, but you have to be like in a really goofy mood.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's less or like very little puns compared to Austin Powers. So it's like we're just waiting for the punchlines, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Austin Powers, you're just like in the entire time like, oh man, this is
just
good. Oh, here
funny,
comes another.
yeah.
Oh, here comes another.
Right. That's fair.
I just said that it was just kind of it was funny, but less in your face, like silly punchlines. It was more just like you had to. We've talked about it. So, anyways, I gave that a 5, and then for quotability, I gave it a 6. I said the quotes were really good, but not as well known, and almost all the funny quotes have like cuss words in them.
Oh, yeah, so you can't really
kids
say
can't really,
it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can't like be saying it on the street, like
Right.
dropping all these ridiculous quotes. Whereas Austin
Right.
Powers is just kind of like, yeah, baby, yeah, like everything is like kind of G-ish.
Stick it where the sun don't shine, Dieter. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I definitely like it's a lot of comedies, like a lot of like Jim Carrey comedies and like Mike Myers comedies, you could quote with your family, and I know like my family did. But like I would quote this, but I wouldn't say that like most families would want to like quote a movie like this because it's pretty crass and
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
baby.
They definitely
Yeah.
did not have.
So what would you give as like a combined score for that?
Oh man, well,
Would you
if
just
my
split?
math is good? 5.5.
Okay, 5.5.
Whoa, we got a
And then that
decimal.
was 7 by Nick and I.
Yeah, I
Let's
promised you.
finish it up with Austin Powers quotability,
I promised
rewatchability.
Gabe I'd give MacGruber a 7.
I
I gave Austin
appreciate that.
Powers a 7.
Yeah.
I hope you guys did.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
I can't imagine
Good. We
why
can
it wouldn't
still
be.
be friends.
Judo chop. Like my whole life, ever since I was like a little kid, I've been quoting Austin Powers
Yeah.
almost every day.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
But like not necessarily this one. I quote all of them. So like one of the ones I say the most is the quid pro quo, Mr. Powers. Yes, squid pro row. Like everyone does like the right.
Yeah, true.
Pay $1 million.
yeah, that's
Every
classic.
putting the
single
pinky
time.
to your mouth for no
Totally.
reason.
Every single time I'm filling out a form and it says like gender or sex, I always think in my head, yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
When he's like, I too like to live dangerously.
Yeah.
You know, and he like stays on a 5.
I suggest you hit, sir.
That's the soup Nazi.
The Who does number 2
is
work
it?
for?
Yeah.
It looks exactly like it.
Yeah, he is. He's the
Dude,
soup Nazi.
I forgot to mention this. Do you know that in MacGruber at the very beginning, the Russian guy who gets shot by Kunth, where he's like, sorry, I don't speak
Yeah.
Russian, that's Billy Walsh in Entourage.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's that actor. He's also like the
That's
bones
so-
are my body or whatever the thing from I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty funny. I just noticed that. I had to shout that out. I mean, I've heard Carter say multiple times, like, sucky it to me, baby.
Yeah, totally.
I love what you said earlier, Nick. Like, that's no woman. That's a man, baby.
Man, baby.
A lot of
Damn it, Austin. That's my mother.
No doubt.
Fairly
love.
mannish.
But as long as people are still having promiscuous sex with many anonymous partners without protection while at the same time experimenting with mind-expanding drugs in a consequence-free environment, I'll be sound as a pound.
We laughed really when we were rewatching this. We laughed really hard at the part like when he's like, "Damn it, I'm gonna have a lump there, you idiot!"
Yeah.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Honestly.
Oh god.
Oh, dude. And I think like some of the funnier parts in Austin Powers are like the non-social like things they do, like all the looks and all.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
and like
There's
the
so-
And
little
that's what makes it rewatchable.
and the like
Totally.
detail they go into to parody James Bond is amazing.
It's so
like
good.
that character that throws a shoe. His name is the James Bond character is Odd Job, and that guy's name in Austin Powers is
Random
Random Task, which is an odd job.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Also, total side note,
this
that
is
guy,
fun.
the actor, this is so messed up. He tortured a lady in 1990 and went unpunished for that crime for like 28 years or something.
And this has
while
been
he was
Facing
filming.
Off. Thank you guys for joining us.
And then they pinned him using DNA evidence, and then he killed his cellmate in jail, so he's just got life in
Dude,
prison.
LVP for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that played Random Task is an actual psychopath.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's
bro.
pretty messed
So,
up.
anyways, that one's good sevens for
Yeah.
everybody.
I think my brother quotes this one like all the time. Like almost every time I see him, he always does the in Japan, men come first and women come second. Or sometimes not at all. Like he said that in like every single dinner conversation. I don't know why. It's so ridiculous.
Are you always eating Japanese food? Why is he talking about
We are
that?
always on the
What are
subject
you always
of Japan.
eating fucking takoyaki?
We're always talking about etiquette in the bedroom and Japan.
The seagull.
Any other quotes you guys want to throw out?
Oh,
there?
there's too many.
There really is.
I think we've thrown them
So
all
what was
in.
it for? What did you give this?
7.
Okay,
Yeah,
7,
yeah.
and then
Seven.
you gave it
Seven.
7 as well.
For sure,
All right,
dude, it
well
has
let's
to be.
add it up. We're done
The
with
other
those
thing
two
about
movies.
Austin Powers is, like I said before, I can,
All right, let's
I
not
can
add it
rewatch
up.
it all the time. Add it up, 34 for me for Austin Powers.
Interesting.
Almost all 7.
35 out of 35. It's a perfect
Yeah,
comedy.
baby,
I don't have
yeah.
a single problem with it.
I haven't added mine up yet.
It's like one of I think 5 comedies I would give a 35.
What was your MacGruber total?
MacGruber was 29 out of 35, which is really high.
Too high for that.
But you got to understand
That's
how
too
many
high.
times I watched MacGruber.
I gave it
Hot
a
Tub
20,
Time Machine and that are
I
two
gave
of my
it
most
21.
watched. Okay.
So,
yeah, you hate it.
So far, I don't hate it.
It's your least favorite movie. Just
So
admit it.
far, I just want to point out, Austin Powers has a 69.
Oh, that's pretty
No
sweet.
way.
So Alec, don't add anything.
So
You
give
gave
it all
a zero.
zeros. So far, without Alex scores, Austin Powers has a 69, and MacGruber has a 50.
And Alec right now is working. He's adding up his total on his Workday calculator. This episode is brought to you by Workday. Go buy some calculators from Workday. You can find it at any Staples.
I think that's what we do. I gave MacGruber a 25.5,
Okay, so that's a 75.5 total for MacGruber.
and then Austin Powers is 33.
Good math.
And that is a, 99, 102.
That's 102 out of 105.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for
Right?
you, Austin Powers. You're the best movie we've ever done, and probably will
what
ever
was your
do.
total? It was 33?
33.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, 102
I
out of
love it.
105. That might be the highest we've ever rated
It's
a movie.
no movie's gonna beat that.
It's Austin Powers.
Yeah, it's Austin Powers.
It's a
great.
man, baby.
So, all right, let's quickly go through some accolades. In our accolade section, we give out awards like MVP, LVP, best scene, worst scene. We already did
Mike
quotes and
Myers.
stuff.
Shrek gets MVP.
Yeah, Shrek.
Shrek is the MVP of this podcast.
Yeah, I
This
really
podcast
like
has been brought to you
Donkey
by-
in these movies.
Shrek?
He was good. Yeah, no, it's Mike Myers. I mean, he's so funny.
Oh, I thought we were doing
Oh, funny one.
obscure ones. Yeah,
Oh.
of course, Will Forte and Mike Myers.
Vern
are like-
Troyer for Austin Powers 2.
Iconic.
Yeah.
What are
RIP.
your MVPs?
I
Chris
gave
Jericho?
Are we doing MacGruber? Chris Jericho or Frank Corver, who is I put in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, MVP Basil Exposition.
Oh, yeah, Basil Exposition is... Yeah.
Totally. And for Austin Powers, I did Scott. I thought was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And Basil's mom, I thought was amazingly casted.
Yeah, it's so
The
good.
most manly looking woman.
Like the way that she shouts is so funny.
Think about being that woman in real life. Like, you're perfect for the role. We need a woman that looks
She is
so
fairly mannish. Yeah,
totally. So funny.
that's a great one.
Oh, that's awesome.
What about you, Nick?
My MVP is Yorma Tacone.
Yeah,
He has a
okay.
drinking game on the DVD commentary track where he drinks a beer every time. He takes a sip of beer every time MacGruber's name or any variation of MacGruber's name is said. And he drinks 4 beers during the course of the movie.
Oh, we should have done that. That's pretty
Yeah.
smart.
Every time they say MacGruber, you take a sip of beer.
I love that.
He drank 4.
Who's your LVP?
LVP? Random Task?
Yeah, random test.
Who's literally a psychopath. I cannot stress this enough. He tortured a lady and killed a man.
Yeah.
And he throws a shoe. Who does that, really?
Honestly. Yeah, I'll just say, I like your guys' picks. I'll go with those ones.
We haven't even talked about how, when they were on the tour in Austin Powers, how the tour guide was a guy that looked just like Gabe.
Kind of, a little bit.
He does.
He's like, we got a problem on this. Yeah. Yeah, I could have played that role.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you could have done it.
I mean, I think I was like 9 when that came out, but I think it would have worked for the role if I was a tour guide at a nuclear facility or whatever that place
eyes
is.
were like going
Yeah.
opposite ways.
Yeah.
Just
Pretty
like
funny.
you.
It is like me.
that
Do
your
you have a favorite scene?
Oh, man. Too many.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think when he gets stuck in the golf cart or whatever, when he's on the little
Dude.
cart and he gets stuck, like
Hilarious.
I can't.
Oh, my God.
That
yeah.
or when they're running over Michael McDonald are like the funniest scenes ever.
Dude, I don't even think I can get it. I can't even.
Yeah, do you have a
it's just
worst
all
scene?
amazing. In Austin Powers?
Either of them.
I don't know. It's in MacGruber. I don't think there is a worst scene in Austin Powers. The whole
I don't
thing
have a
is
worst
incredible.
scene in MacGruber either. I think everything's pretty funny.
Dude, the scene where he's walking into the party and it's like, take me home
Yeah.
tonight. Dude,
And they're
that
like,
was
jacket
so dope.
No, and he's like, car stereo.
Nice
Nice try.
Dude, by the way, what's that? I was trying to pick it up. What is that stereo he kept yelling? Where he's like,
a
you didn't
blambach,
just do that.
a blab
block.
Yeah, I don't know,
Blop.
but he says that, and then he says that one. He talks about that vest or whatever. He's like, oh man, I don't know what I would have done if you would have like gotten shot up.
She's like, "Oh, thank
She's
you."
like, oh, thank you. He's like, I mean, I only have like 2 of these vests.
They're hard to find.
really hard to. They're not expensive, but they're really hard to find.
Oh, dude, definitely my favorite scene in MacGruber is when
club?
she's in there at Beaten
Oh
Ham.
yeah. Oh,
And,
so
then,
funny.
and then he's like, we're about 7 blocks away.
He's like,
you're 7 blocks? He's like, all right, I lied. We're about 22 blocks away.
there wasn't anything closer. Yeah, there were plenty of spots. Yeah, with meters. So, and the most important part right here is you're gonna have to take the cup, gently bring it up to your mouth, tip it back. He's like just describing to her how to drink tea.
Totally. And then when she orders, she's like, I'll take a latte. He's like, no. That's not what MacGruber would order.
Gruber's all about the Tazo tea.
Doesn't even matter at all.
I'll take it.
So dumb. I love the club scene when he introduces himself. I love when he goes like, I don't know what he says to the guy, but he's like, yeah, I'll have the egg 5, and then just smashes his face.
Like,
into it.
he's in
like,
on it.
He doesn't know anything.
And then later, like literally like 30 minutes later in the movie, the commissioner's like, don't give yourself away. He thinks you're dead.
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
He's known he's alive for like the entire movie.
Oh yeah, because he just like walks into the party. And thank you for the upper decker you left me.
We will be there with bells ringing. No,
No, you
MacGruber,
absolutely
that's
will
a bad
not.
idea. Obviously, Commissioner, not with the bells, but we will be there. So stupid.
That's so good.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Do
All
you
right.
have any scenes?
Oh,
That's
too many.
it? Yeah,
I think
there's
we're
too
good.
many. Cool. Well, thank you for coming
Cue
on,
the
Alec.
theme music.
Oh yeah. We are going to do next week. What are we going to do? The Prestige versus the Illusionist.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be a fun episode with Nick and I. And then you can follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, instagram.com/facingoffpod, twitter.com/facingoffpod. Just look up Facing Off and you'll see it. Go and check us out. We're on the Movies That Molded Me podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So look up Movies That Molded Me, 80s teen movies. We were on it. It was a super fun time. At one point I shouted, and they tweeted this today, at one point I shouted, if you don't like Dirty Dancing, suck a dick. So if you want to go listen to that, what?
They tweeted?
They tweeted. Yeah, I think they tweeted that. I think they actually they added me with it too on Twitter.
Dude, they were funny.
pretty
They're
funny.
funny people.
It was a really good time. It's like a game show. It was fun.
It was
And Nick, I won't say who won. I kind of just gave it
did.
away.
I
Nick won. So go check that out. And then if you want to send us an email, you can send us an email at facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. Smolly, do you want people following you?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. But
Okay.
you can find me on your own.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to tag him in the post, and then we're going to continue to tag him for days on end. Thanks for coming on, man. Do you have a send-off?
Oh, man. I just love how we had major cross-mogination during this whole thing, guys. Like, we were just vibing, so...
I love that.
you know?
You got one?
Tug! Call 911!
I hate you. I wish I was never artificially created in a lab.
I like that you fell.
You're listening to the Fade to Gray Network.
Hey, these are the movies
up, podcast listeners? This is Elizabeth.
And this is Chris.
What's going on? It's Omar here from Movies That Molded Me.
What is Movies That Molded Me?
It's the most fun podcast around.
It's a movie ranking game show where we take our favorite movies from a specific topic or genre and play against each other to create the definitive top 5 list.
Where can we find Movies That Molded Me?
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And then if you want to follow us on our socials, you can find us at Movies That Molded Me on Instagram, Facebook at Movies That Molded Me, and Molded Me on Twitter.
Check it out. It's a lot of fun.
You need to listen to our show.